Hi, good morning. It's time to cook again. I'm going to say a couple of words here that are going to scare you. Hopefully they won't, but if they do, just bear with me. We're going to make bread. I have a homemade French baguette recipe that's super easy and super good. And don't get scared. Come back here. Don't turn me off. Watch the rest of this. It's really easy. So here we go. We're going to start. I've got my mixer out. And I have 3½ cups of flour, all-purpose flour. I like to use unbleached, but whatever that you've got is good. And we add 2 teaspoons of salt to that. Okay, 1, 2, there we go. Okay, what I have done in the meantime, let me put this in here. What I've done in the meantime, I have in this bowl 1/2 cup warm water. And if you remember, I said when you're making bread, it needs to be between 105 and 115. And I just have a little thermometer that I use, Insta-Read thermometer, real easy. I have 1½ tablespoons of yeast, or you can use 2 packages depending on whether you buy it in the jar or in the package, and 2 tablespoons of honey. So that acts as a stimulant for the yeast, and it tastes really, really good. So I'm going to start by just mixing up the flour and the salt that I just put in here. Just give it a couple of turns. I have a dough hook on here. Makes it easy. Okay, now we're going to add the yeast mixture. And you let this set for 5 minutes so that it becomes kind of foamy. That means the yeast is alive. If it doesn't do anything, start over because the yeast is dead and you'll get nowhere. So we're going to pour this in. Get all that wonderful yeast out of there. I remember growing up as a kid, I used to hate the smell of yeast. Not that my mother cooked that much, but when she did, but now I love it because to me it means bread. So it's funny how we all change, right? I used to hate the taste of coffee, but love the smell, and of course now I drink coffee. So, all right, so that's the yeast. Okay, we're going to mix that up. Get that going. I have a cup of warm water, again between 105 and 115, and I'm going to gradually add that to the dough, to the flour mixture, until it forms a dough. And you all know what dough looks like, so you don't want it too sticky, so you want to gradually add your water. I know it's kind of loud, hopefully you can hear me. Just keep adding it like this. This is so easy and it's so good. It makes 2 baguettes. 1 to eat, 1 to give away, or both to eat, whatever you want to do. Okay? It's coming together. I wish I could show you this, but I will at the end. Keep adding the water. Okay. Starting to sound wet, so I think I'm going to stop here. Let me take a look at it. Yeah. Keep that going a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of extra flour here. The dough should not be too sticky, but it shouldn't be too dry either. So I think we've got it just about right. Let me take a look. Feel, yes. I'm going to add just a touch more water because when we put it out on the board, it's going to take on more flour. So a little bit damp is not a bad idea. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so take off my paddle, my dough hook. Bear with me a minute. I'm going to move the mixer out of my way. I love these KitchenAid mixers. Okay, now this needs to be kneaded. We all need to be kneaded, right? So I'm going to put some flour on my counter here. Flour around, and then get the dough ball. See how nice together that is? It's not real sticky, but it's got a little moisture in it. Put that down there. And we're going to knead it. So put a little flour on your hands, pull the front forward, and then push it with the heel of your hand. Hopefully you can see this here. Push forward, pull, push, and you just do that. Now the recipe says 2 to 6 minutes, and there's a way to tell if you're finished. When you press on the dough with your thumb. If it bounces back, you've kneaded it enough. If not, keep kneading. So rather than make you watch me do this for 2 to 6 minutes, I'll be back shortly. Okay, I'm back. I kneaded my dough, and you probably can't see it, but if you press on it, it does bounce back. So I'm done. Right here I have a bowl that I put oil in, rubbed it all over the sides. There's a little extra in the bottom, so I'm going to put my dough ball in here, turn it over, keep the top moist, and we're going to cover it with a dishcloth. I've added a little bit of water to it just for moisture. I'm just going to cover it like this. I'm going to set it in a warm place. Now that doesn't mean your oven. Just set it in a place where there's not a draft or your AC, blowing directly on it. So I'm going to set it on the counter behind me for 30 minutes, and it should double in size, and I'll be back then. Okay, I'm back. Here we are. Here's our dough ball. It has doubled in size. It's been 30 minutes. Now we get to punch it down. Punch it nicely. Just getting some of the air out. Okay, going to take that out of our bowl. Put it on the counter. Look at every drop. All right, next we're going to cut the dough in half because it's going to make 2 baguettes. So you can kind of eyeball this. Pretty easy. All right, we're going to make these 2" by 12 inches. So I'm going to start by just working the dough out like this, just to try and get a little bit of the length. You can smash it down, kind of roll it over, push again. And yes, I have a tape measure. I want it to be at least 12 inches long, and we are 12 to 14. So I'm going to make it about 2 inches wide. Pretty easy, right? There we go. That should be it. Now, put a little cornmeal. I happen to have a baguette pan. You don't have to have that. You can use a cookie sheet and just put them on the cookie sheet. But since I have one, I'm going to use it. Told you I like that. I like that. So I'm sprinkling some cornmeal. This helps it slide out when it's done baking. They do this on pizza crust a lot too, so nothing new, nothing strange. All right, so I'm going to put this in here. That kind of helps gives it the right size. I'm going to do the other one now. Pat it out. Fold it over a little. Pat some more. So I get about the same length and about the same width. And I think we're there. Notice how elastic the dough is. That's a good thing. So I'm going to put this on this side now. And I'm going to put it back to rise with the cloth covered again for 30 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and put some diagonal slices in here, about a ½ inch deep. You don't have to do that, but it sure is pretty when it comes out. However many you want. That should be about right. Okay, so I'll be back in 30 minutes and we'll get to bake this, and then we get to eat it. Okay, I'm back. It's been 30 minutes and the dough's risen, and look at this. Look how beautiful and fluffy those are. Can you see? They're gorgeous, and the slits have widened, so it looks really professional. Okay, now these go in the oven at 450 degrees for 15 minutes. There's just a little bit of a trick here to this. It's not hard at all, so no panic. So I'm going to open the door, I'm going to put these in, and then I have a pan in the oven already that's heating. I put the bread in, I throw the ice cubes in the pan, and the steam from the ice cubes will help make it a nice crusty crust, which I love. So here we go. Hold on. Down. Open my door. Slide in my bread. Throw in the ice cubes. Okay. Wouldn't you know I'd miss one? Okay. Anyway, you're supposed to get them all in the pan. So that's going to cook for 15 minutes, and then we'll be back. Hi. So they're done. And here they are. And hopefully you can see these. They're beautiful baguettes. I'm going to get one out for you. Sure I get it out properly. Here, hold on, give me a second. Right, I'll get this side up. Okay, well, I'm having trouble. Sorry, give me a second. The cornmeal only goes so far and then you have to loosen the bread. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so look how beautiful that is. Nice and flaky. It's gorgeous. I hope you enjoy it. And remember, the yeast did most of the work. You only had to work for about 15 or 20 minutes, so please give it a try. I know you're going to love it, and it's so delicious, much better than what you buy in the store. So enjoy.